Welcome to the Heart and Soul Elevation Podcast, where Jesus is first, wellness is lived from the inside out, and women find the connection their souls have been craving. We're your hosts, Melissa Holman
and Stephanie Pazniokis, two women passionate about weaving scripture and science into everyday life so you can live aligned in spirit, mind, and body in that order.
Take a breath,
settle in.
Let's elevate together.
What bothered me was I was reading something and it's like, oh, it was a Facebook post. And I actually thought that the intention behind it was really interesting. And it was one of the three things that God did just recently to, you absolutely need to stop and really rest. Not just like sit down and take a break and then get back to work. Like I needed to take that rest yesterday. And one of them was this really cool post. And I'm not going to read the whole thing because it was long. But she was just talking about how her husband, he was so caught up in what was happening in the world that it was stressing him out, and he wanted to run off and live in a commune, but he called her sleeping. She just couldn't see what was going on, and she was exhausted by who all of they were that he was constantly talking about. They're doing this and they're doing that, and geopolitical conspiracies and global warming and all the kinds of things that he was just absolutely crazy about. And he left. And he was like, I can't do this anymore. I need to be around people who are awake, and he went to live in a commune and everything. And she said, I canceled my subscriptions. I got a library card. I bought a secondhand radio that only picked up the local jazz station and the Sunday baseball games. I started baking, not the sourdough starter trend for Instagram, but real baking. And I'm like, dude, sorry. Like, just hard stop there. But I mean, the rest of it is fantastic. It was a fantastic post. But I'm like, this isn't a fad. This is how people originally did it to make grains digestible and healthy. Like, this is
Yes.
the OG baking was fermented
Yes,
sourdough.
but you also need to remember that people stopped making anything for decades. Nothing was, I was weird because I made everything from scratch. Oh my gosh, we went on a camping trip one time with the older scouts and they wanted to make chicken fajitas over the campfire. So what did I do? I cut up the chicken. I marinated it in my own homemade fajita seasoning. And they were amazed because everybody else just buys their fajita seasoned chicken at the market. Like people stopped cooking, people stopped baking.
One afternoon, she said her internet went down. A year ago, this would have caused a meltdown in our household. Mark would have been screaming at the service provider. I would have been panicked about missing emails. Now I just make a cup of tea and sat on the porch. A young woman walked by pushing a stroller. She looked frazzled, a Bluetooth earpiece in her ear, talking rapidly about quarterly projections or something. And she stopped when she saw me. She's like, "Are you okay?" Pointing at my house. "Power's out the whole block. No Wi-Fi." And she goes, "I know. Would you like a slice of apple pie? It's still warm." And they actually ended up just sitting in community and talking for an hour.
Well,
And
and that is what is missing today.
that is what is missing.
That is absolutely what is missing today. My son, who's a missionary with Reach Global Crisis Response, came and spoke at our church, and that's what he talked about. That's what is missing, even among crisis response. The reason that Reach Global makes such an impact when they go into a crisis area is not because they're helping people rebuild their homes. It is because they are helping to build community. And that's what makes it, that's what matters. That's what we miss today. We sit in our air conditioned homes with our fences around us and we never see our neighbors.
Yeah. And I remember back when I forget which hurricane it was. I can't even you'll know. It was the big one that hit New Orleans.
Katrina.
Katrina. It was I was gonna say Helena. I'm like, it's not Helena, it's Katrina.
No,
It
that was
rhymes.
North Carolina.
That was North Carolina. So many years later.
Yes.
So, but one of the things they found in the tent cities is they didn't put people near the people they had lived with. Everybody just kind of went in, and it was a huge mental health crisis at that point. And it just goes to show that being in community, even those temporary shelters, FEMA, whatever, to pay attention to those details and put people in the areas and regional areas that they were in their town so that they could see people that they recognized and like again, I'm sorry, what is it that we say? Healing happens in connection and community. I didn't have to
Absolutely.
actually really think about it. It
I
was at
know.
the tip of my tongue.
We were designed for it. Literally, that is our design.
That is our biochemistry. It's in our cells, like
Hmm.
literally in our body physically. My dad makes fun of me on our daddy-daughter dinner dates. I highly recommend if you have a living parent to prioritize that if you don't. It wasn't something I grew up with. I didn't have a strong family growing up. But there's lots of things behind that. But so it's only, I don't know, in the last 5 years or so, my dad and I have been doing this every month because we
Yeah,
kept saying to each other, oh, we'll go out to eat for your birthday. We'll go out to eat for your birthday. Oh, for Christmas, we don't do presents. We'll go out to eat. We'll go hang out. We never would do it. So we finally just said, you know what? We've got a lot of years to make up for. We're just going to do it for the rest of a monthly for the rest of our lives. Like
that's
whoever.
fabulous.
So we have
And not
our
everybody gets
D3.
that opportunity. So I'm so glad you have that.
Yeah, and it's actually it's like church going to dinner with my dad. And it's such a blessing. I can't like I don't want to cry, but it's like it's amazing. And
Well, what is church?
yeah,
What is
right.
church? Where two or three
It
are
is church.
gathered together, it's church, right?
It is church.
Yeah.
And we talk about all kinds of things and gosh, I don't even remember why I was bringing that up. Call me back.
Community and
Oh,
connection.
biochemistry. So I bring
Biochemistry.
stuff at Simon's. Things you and I talk about. I'll bring it up at dinner, and he's like, you're going to go, nobody understands what you're saying. Nobody is going to know what you're talking about with the nervous system and how cool that all is. He goes, you know it because you're scientists, but people don't have to be scientists to know that, in the Bible, he goes, here's how I would say it. And he'd give this beautiful thing. And I'm like, yes, but that God gave me this knowledge, this understanding of our system, that He created it so amazingly and wonderfully that all of the things He's asking us to do in the Bible have a science, they're based in our body. They're based in our body. They're in our body.
Everything. Hmm.
You can even test it in a petri dish, in a mass spectrometer, whatever. There's ways you can see his design. And I
Hmm.
think that's beautiful. And yeah, I'm going to talk about it. I am going to go geeky with people.
So I want to go geeky for just 1 second. So this was several years ago. We were in Sunday school. There was a pediatrician in the class. And I don't even know how we got on the topic, but she was talking about circumcision, right? And in the Old Testament, it talks about circumcision on the eighth day. Why? Because our body naturally starts to produce vitamin K, which is a clotting mechanism in our blood on the eighth day after birth. I
Hmm.
mean, even that is part of God's design.
And
He
how'd they
said
know?
on the eighth day,
Yeah. And
circumcised,
because he knew our body.
because he knew that on the eighth day, I'm going to start producing vitamin K in my bloodstream. So, like, every infant born now in a hospital gets a vitamin K shot immediately. Why? Because that's the clotting factor that they need to be able to do the things that they need to do instead of waiting until the eighth day.
Yep.
You could just wait till the eighth day.
Could.
It's,
Or,
it's all part
and
of the
then it gets
design.
more and more common not to do it at all. I mean,
I know.
that was a funny, there was this whole fight, right, in the early church in the New Testament talking
Mm-hmm.
about, well, these Christ followers, they have to become like Jews. They have to get
They have
circumcised and
to be
everything else. And then there was
circumcised.
this whole contingent that was sent to Rome to say, listen, no, just, you know what? Don't worry about that. Let's not worry
Mm-hmm.
about that. This is the most important thing. Get circumcised or not. And it's funny though, even that happened, it's still very common practice among Christians.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for joining us here on Heart and Soul Elevation. If this conversation lifted you, share it with another woman who needs community.
And be sure to subscribe to the show and click the bell so you never miss an episode. And come back to join us for more faith first conversations where we grow in real time together.
Until then, may the peace of Christ guard your heart, steady your mind, and strengthen your body.